It's always about money. The ongoing battle between workers and the 1% reaching new heights. Just this week, UPS is telling 250 of its drivers to hit the road after they protested to defend a fired coworker. Is all this outrage helping or hurting the economy? It's today's Money Talker. Here now, our very own Charlie Gasparino, the Wall Street Journal's Veronica Dagher, and financial consultant Doug Flynn. Thanks to all three of you for joining us. So this is, it kind of follows along the same theme where we have, the vanishing middle class. You're always hearing about that, the 1% versus the 99%. Here you're seeing more worker uprise. There's the fight over stolen wages. Is all this helping the economy?
Well, I would say this. As someone who worked at UPS when I was a kid, I was a UPS plant behind my house. That was considered
when you were a kid, were you like 9 or 10 out there in the boxes?
I was like 17.
Yeah.
And, we'd have to unload these huge trucks. It was backbreaking work. But the whole thing was to get that job and to make your union book, because these guys get paid very well. I think what's interesting about this is that these are highly unionized jobs where there's really strict rules on when you work and when you don't work, and they pay pretty well for people that don't have college degrees. Why they're walking off the job? There's other things you can do to protest an unfair firing.
Well, that's what we're asking is sort of the sentiment in this country right now and the dialogue that we're having about minimum wage and about Wall Street and all these things, is it stirring up discontent that could be damaging our recovery or not? Or is it healthy? I don't know.
I think it's absolutely stirring up discontent. I think we're going to see more sort of acts of civil disobedience. It's a problem, though, because these guys knew they were breaking their union contract. They weren't covered the moment they walked out the door. And so now they're out of a job, and this is more people who are going to be out of a job turning to the government for help. So I think it's a bad thing for the economy.
When you see UPS, by the way, says these employees were warned about the consequences of the walkout if they left their job. We simply cannot allow employee misconduct that jeopardizes our ability to reliably serve our customers. It reminds me of the picket lines that we're seeing outside McDonald's. And you have to wonder, with all of these people, do you feel so secure about your job? Do you think you can get another one if you're protesting the one that you have? Doug, what do you think?
Well, I'm looking at it always from the investor standpoint and investing in the stock. And if you put your employee hat on for a minute, you have to really know what your employment contract says. And that's the lesson here. A lot of people sign something when they take a job and they don't even know what's in it. If they did or didn't know that they were breaking a rule here and their job was...
But does it make you dangerous?
Listen, I've been to my fair share of strikes. My old man was an iron worker. I've been to strikes. You have an absolute right to assembly. The problem becomes when you violate your contract. It's one thing for a worker of McDonald's on his off time to protest in front on public space. It's another thing to walk off your job when you're supposed to work. And that's what these guys did.
Maybe
and
it's a sign of a recovery. Maybe it's a sign of a stronger economy that more and more people...
Look at the U6. Look at the U6.
Companies to go more towards automation, though, which is a danger.
Well, they're going
low-end jobs. Where are you going to get another job?
Here's the thing. I think the companies are going to automation. What this shows, I think it underscores your original thesis that there is a class warfare element to the political environment, and it's causing people to do stupid things. What these guys did was dumb. They violated their contract. You can protest. You just can't violate your contract.
Come back to your employer hat for a moment. As an employer, you have 400,000 employees. You can't let any small amount do something that's going to allow it to rip across
it's not even that. There's a contract. You can protest. You just can't do it on work hours.
Yeah. And what does it mean for our economy? When you pit worker against boss, it seems like it makes businesses inherently less productive.
Listen, you have an entire Democratic Party apparatus that's being ginned up for the 2014 midterms. That's much of their message is class warfare. We will see more of that. It's a very dangerous trend. I have no problem with fighting management. I'm there with you. But don't do it like this. This is stupid. This shows you that the class warfare is forcing people to do very dumb things.
Yeah. 90% of fast food workers say that they have been victims of wage theft. This is after, we've seen workers at McDonald's across the country. McDonald's has been such a target, and we've seen workers go out and file suit. I mean, I wonder when you file these lawsuits, do you worry about the fact that if you're working at checkout, you could be replaced by a computer?
I'm sure you've got to worry about that. I think that the whole issue with this whole wage debate, though, who it's really going to hurt? Yeah, it'll hurt the McDonald's of the world, sure, but it's really going to hurt the small businesses of the world who have, under 100 workers who are going to have to raise their minimum wage, and that's going to mean less jobs.
Okay.
If you're worried about if you want to be a long-term hamburger flipper, the chances are you're going to lose your job.
Okay.
I don't think that's a big secret.
All right. Hang around, guys. Oh, Yelp. Shares of the online review site taking a hit for a second day following the Federal Trade Commission's report that the company has gotten more than 2,000 complaints since 2008. Let's go to Nicole Petalides at the New York Stock Exchange. You can see the stock there getting hammered, Nicole.
The stock is getting hammered. It's down about 7% right now. But the problem is the big picture problem, which is that you have small business owners now complaining month after month, year after year, since back to 2008, saying that some of these complaints that people put onto Yelp are fraudulent. And so this is problematic. And this is a whole debate over free speech versus what's fair. And they even have examples in the Wall Street Journal talking about a guy who has a carpet cleaning business. And someone says, worst carpet cleaning ever. Don't go with this guy. And the question is, are these legitimate reviews? Should this be done in this way? Does it really kill somebody's business? And in many cases, these small business owners are now wanting to know the names of the anonymous writers on Yelp. So this is not a problem that's ending today, but it certainly seems like something that is plaguing some of the people who sign up with Yelp and use Yelp. And then you have people getting on there and complaining.
No, that's true. We're going to talk more about it in that particular case. Nicole, thank you so much. Let's bring our panel back in. So Nicole's talking about this case that was in the Wall Street Journal about this carpet cleaner who was saying he's seeing all these negative responses. They don't match up with towns that he covers, with initials of anyone that have been his customers. He goes through the whole thing and he says these look fake. And goes back to Yelp and says, look, I don't think these are real. Yelp says, well, would you like to buy some advertising?
Well, that is called extortion.
And
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, listen, I remember before my Wikipedia page was locked down.
Yeah.
Some of the garbage that the Wall Street guys used to put. It was off the charts. I mean, there's so much BS on the internet. You look at my Twitter. I mean, you see the Twitter wars I get into with these guys. That's the downside of the internet. Now, Yelp as a business should, and all these businesses should, if they're a conduit for false and malicious statements, they can be sued for libel.
They can. I mean, Yelp, for its part, I have to say that they say our recommendation software does not punish people who don't advertise. There has never been any amount of money you can pay Yelp to manipulate reviews. At the same time, we had somebody on the show a little while ago, Lakeisha Alston, who was a business owner who said the exact same thing. And we actually had people on our staff who were customers of this person who said they put up positive reviews and that they got pushed to the side. Listen to what she had to say. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
My customers left valued reviews, respectful reviews, and they didn't want to acknowledge that. They told me that it was a computer system, that it wasn't their fault. It seems to me that they really do not support small businesses. You have to have major money, and they want you to mostly focus on buying ads.
Yeah, her complaint was they hid her good reviews when she refused to buy advertising. Yelp denies this, but now, the FTC is out there investigating it because so many people have complained. What does this mean for Yelp? Would you invest in Yelp, Doug?
No, and the market is showing that. In fact, it's down from 100 to where it is now. It's down about 30%. And the problem is, here's a company that hasn't ever turned a profit. It doesn't have positive earnings. Even if it does down the road, it's highly speculative. And that's the problem with a mid-cap growth stock that this is. And they have a business problem and they need to handle it. Otherwise,
they have a bizarre business model. I mean, who believes what you read on Yelp anyway?
Right,
I never believed it.
A lot of people
do. If you read something on the internet, you take it with a grain of salt, usually. I think that's a real
It does seem like it impacts business, Charlie. You're right. I don't know why.
I will say this. I'm not saying Yelp committed fraud, but the business model is losing money. It's not profitable. If they are extorting, advertising for ratings, they're going to get crushed by the FTC. That stock should go down.
That's going to be a real issue.
By half. If that's what they did, I'm not saying they did it, but it sounds like you have people saying they did.
There are a lot of people saying it now.
Bad news.
So anyway, all right, Doug, thank you. Charlie and Veronica, you're going to be sticking around with us. We appreciate it. Up next, why traders aren't buying into the recovery may not be the reason that you think, and how Miley Cyrus is now caught up in the Russian sanctions. She won't be twerking her way out of this one. More money coming up.